Hello and welcome to another edition of What's the Freebooter crew doing these days at home. I already showed you my miniatures painting and assembly desk. Well, it's more of an assembly desk to be perfectly honest. So today we're down in the cellar in my big workshop where I manufacture everything from writing desks to terrain pieces. So lots and lots of tools over here. And because every time I am somewhere like the local DIY store or a haberdashery store or something, or the gardening center, I grab everything that looks like I might need it at some point, and so that's what the shelves look like accordingly. This, for example, came from a knitting meetup that I went to, and it's originally genuine Nepalese nettle yarn, which is what my goblin ropes will be made of from here and onwards. And because I can't learn apparently, I have amassed a shed load of raw material for yet more trees. And when I say shed load, I really mean shed load. So that should keep me occupied to well after retirement. Then of course there's the usual plastic plants. They're always handy in all shapes and sizes and forms. Plus almost finished, nearly finished and barely begun stuff with roots. And of course, lots and lots of tools. You simply cannot have enough tools. Most of the tools have become very, very dear to my heart and I wouldn't miss them for the world. Then there's my attempt at the standard freebooter box house, 10 by 10 centimeters for a lot of scenarios. So far I've finished one true to form. Then over here we have yet more raw material and tools. And down there is the black pearl that I started years and years ago. Still haven't finished. Well, why should it be finished if all the other stuff isn't? Then there's the styrofoam cutter. Stuff from some other manufacturers because only doing freebooter, you know, in and out. Lovely as it is, occasionally you want to do something else. Yet more tools. These are all the tools I use on a daily basis, including the anvil for the blades I make. And saws, pliers, all the usual stuff. And when I'm, well, almost finished with it, this is what it looks like. So I usually take some roots and knock them together, put a few planks on it, and of course I always have the standard freebooter measuring boat to make sure that I don't spend years on a piece of terrain, only to find out that the gaps aren't large enough for stuff to fit through. So this, by the way, is my very first attempt at these things, and it's all continued from there. And occasionally I do kits like these. This one had to be modified recently because as of 2nd edition we now have templates to show where cover is, and these railings weren't high enough for cover, so I banged a few a few planks on to give miniatures cover now. Speaking of banging, as you can probably tell, if there's one thing I like more than pinning miniatures, it's nailing little bits of wood to other little bits of wood. I really derive an inordinate amount of pleasure from doing that. So that's my big workshop, and more of me later as the week progresses.